Hello there. Today I'm taking a look at a wine that I think offers great value, and this is from the Medoc in Bordeaux. This is Chateau Cissac. It's from the Haut-Médoc, in fact, and this is the 2018 vintage of that. The estate has been in the hands of the same family since it was established in 1769. So the Vialard family had purchased Chateau Martigny in 1765, and then in 1769 they bought a neighbouring chateau, Chateau Haut, and they combined the two. And the result was a 100 hectare property roughly, with all its vineyards in one block, pretty much between the village of Cissac and the neighbouring forest. Now Cissac is beautifully positioned. It's just inland from Saint-Estèphe and just from the north of Pauillac. So where these vineyards sit, they're a raised elevation. They're about 27.5 metres above sea level, which puts them at the same level as the highest points in Saint-Estèphe and in Pauillac. And these vineyards are literally 1 or 2 miles inland from the vineyards of Costes-Dornel, from the vineyards of Chateau Lafite and Mouton Rothschild. And these soils are, quite deep, sandy, Garonnais gravels with clay and limestone subsoils, and this makes them friable but with water reserves in the subsoils, and really suitable for the growing of Cabernet Sauvignon. So the planting of the vineyards here is somewhere in the region of 70% Cabernet Sauvignon with 22% Merlot and the balance 8% of Petit Verdot. Now that may not be exact, and we'll come to some reasons for that later, but it's predominantly planted with Cabernet Sauvignon. The wine is currently classified as a Cru Bourgeois Supérieur, and in fact in the original classification of the Cru Bourgeois in 1932, at that stage it had the classification of Cru Bourgeois. So it's generally recognised as being a property capable of producing high quality wines. Also worth noting that the Vialard family have been quite energetic in promoting their wines and exporting them. For instance, in 1951, Louis Vialard set up a business in the UK to import wines and to distribute them there. So today we find that Chateau Cissac is really quite well distributed in quite a lot of export markets around the world. In 2018, the average vine age is stated as being 34 years, which will mean most of the vines have fully developed root systems that are able to get down and to take water from the clay and limestone subsoils, which will act as water reserves for them in hot years, as indeed was the case in the summer of 2018. 2018, however, started with quite a mild, wet winter. There was a warm, humid spring, and in fact the vintage had the highest rainfall in 3 decades. The result of that was there were quite strong mildew pressures. Budburst was late and flowering took place in early June. The summer really started in mid-July, and from then onwards it was hot and it was dry. There were some real heat spikes throughout the summer, and there was potential for the plants to suffer water stress if they weren't able to get down to the subsoils and use the reserves of water that existed in the clay and limestone there. The heat and the sunshine enabled good ripening of the grapes, and conditions stayed fine throughout harvest, ensuring that the grapes were completely healthy at picking. Picking took place between the 20th of September and the 17th of October. A portion of the harvest was done manually and the balance done with machine harvesters. I should have said these vineyards are managed using an approach called the lutte raisonnée. It's normally translated as rational struggle, meaning that although the vineyards aren't organic, any use of chemicals such as pesticides or herbicides is only done when it's judged to be necessary. So they will assess levels of fungal infection, etc., and they will only treat when necessary and the areas necessary, rather than just using a blanket approach and spraying the whole vineyard as a precaution. The fruit was harvested and vinified according to plot, and yields were 38 hectolitres per hectare, which is relatively low, but I guess the dry conditions have probably concentrated the fruit. The final blend of this wine ended up as 38% Cabernet Sauvignon, so quite a low amount of that considering the vineyard planting, 31% of Merlot, 9% of Petit Verdot, but then there's also 2% of Malbec. So my initial suggestion that the vineyard plantings were Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot and Petit Verdot has obviously missed some more recent plantings that may have included included some Malbec. On arrival at the winery, the fruit was destemmed. Fermentation went ahead very traditionally in a combination of oak cuves and stainless steel tanks. Malolactic conversion went on in tank, and then the wine was put into barrel where it stayed for 14 to 16 months. Those would have been French oak barriques, and about 30% of those were new. So let's see what we make of the wine, shall we? From the outset, that really is a deep, dark wine. I can just make out a hint of the stem of the glass as I look through it, but it's almost opaque. There's a slightly purple hue to the red there. It's a almost red-black colour, but it's deep, it's dark. The wine has 14% alcohol, and unsurprisingly, it's showing some quite distinctive tears there. So let's see what we make of the aroma, shall we? Now, normally I expect the aromas for Cissac to be very dominated by cassis, blackcurrant, that sort of thing. This is not quite as much so, but then it has a lower proportion of Cabernet Sauvignon than usual. To me, this is almost slightly soupy. There's a bit more of that sort of plum, maybe prune, so high ripeness notes there. There's perhaps a blueberry note. There are also notes that relate to the oak aging, so there are hints of perhaps cedar, but then more so of graphite. And I think that's giving a savoury and adding a slightly muted edge to the fruit. So let's have a taste, shall we? On the palate there is good acidity, but perhaps it's not quite as sharp as I would normally expect in a vintage with more Cabernet Sauvignon. I think this is showing up the ripeness and the roundness of the Merlot. There's certainly quite a plush texture. It's smooth, there's fine-grained tannins, but there's almost sort of notes of chocolatiness. There's a bitter aspect, some coffee notes there, but there is a lovely concentration of this dark black and red fruit. I mean, again, I'm not getting the sort of the classic fresh cassis notes I'd be expecting from Cabernet Sauvignon. Instead, they're very ripe and they're much more sort of blueberry, and the notes of the Merlot are coming across as really ripe red to black plum, perhaps a touch of prune, but there's a good concentration there. And the structure actually has some grip. It's giving a little bit of drying notes. There's a cedriness there. There may be just touches of cinnamon and nutmeg, but they're not being lifted as exotic sweet spices. There's roundness and warmth coming from the alcohol at its 14%. And the finish is perhaps being left a little bit dry and structured. Maybe this is where I'm starting to see some of the cedar, but there are notes of cocoa powder. Those graphite notes are there. There are touches of cedar, so the classic pencil shaving notes that people talk about with red Bordeaux, where graphite and cedar notes are combined. The flavours are lasting quite well, but there's not perhaps quite the sort of the toothsome freshness that you'd get from a cooler vintage. There's more sort of a richness and a warmth and a concentration on the finish. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you get the chance to try Chateau Cissac, I would highly recommend it. I think it's a wine that offers some nice character at a reasonable price. Do please tell your friends about the video. Do pass it on to them if you think that it's any good. Do please leave your comments. It would be great to know what you think of these wines and what you think of the tastings we're doing. Please leave your views in the box below. That would be fantastic. Also, it'd be great if you'd sign up and follow us on YouTube. But most importantly, do please try and find some time and come and join us again for another tasting in the very near future, won't you? Thanks again. Bye for now.